And welcome, 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 welcome everyone to the Raising Your Impact panel. I'm joined today by an amazing panel. We're going to get started in just a few minutes, but thank you for being here. Thank you for having your cameras on. And you can put in the chat where you are zooming in from. I used to say calling in from like I was on a radio show, but where you're calling in from, but where you are zooming in from, go ahead and put that in the chat. I'm going to get our chat open too as well. Yeah, two from Pennsylvania. Look at there.
Oh,
Here comes Jill. Fantastic, right? You'll see our panelists here. We have Yvonne McCoy. We have Christina Curry. We have Dr. Mort Orman, I'm sorry. You just became Ortman for a second. Jill Lubin and Julie Krasinski. Did I say your name right, Julie?
Krasinski, Krashinsky,
Krasinski.
Krasinski.
Krasinski. Hey,
Yeah,
Jill.
close
How are
enough.
you?
Hi,
Great
Jill.
to have you here. You're going to get a great introduction later to these really, really amazing people. Some of them are my friends I have been working with in the industry for a while now. And we are, I would say, all on a mission to make a big positive impact with our work and also to help others to do the same. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Raising Your Impact, where we're going to get to dive deep into helping you make a bigger positive impact, align your authentic presence and your energy and your message so that you can grow your influence and your success. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Faith Rumor, and I'm going to keep looking at our make sure I keep admitting people. I'm Faith Rumor. I am your host and your moderator for today's panel. And for more than 30 years, I've had the privilege of working with leaders and entrepreneurs and creative professional speakers, performers, even Academy Award winning actors and Grammy winning artists. And I've helped them to find their voice, to elevate their presence, and really create their own authentic impact. I'm the best-selling author of Truly Be Seen and Heard. I'm a mentor, I'm a speaker, a certified life coach, and I would say a communication expert. And through my years of coaching and mentoring, I found that many of the most talented people I know are not creating the impact they're truly capable of creating. Now, not because they lack talent, and not because they aren't working hard, and not because they don't care. They're holding something back. Sometimes it's their voice, sometimes it's their message, sometimes it's their dream, and sometimes it's a part of who they really are that they've been hiding. They become what I would call the best kept secret. People who have so much to offer, but for one reason or another, they aren't fully expressing who they are. They're not fully expressing themselves. And I know this because this used to be me. I used to call myself the best kept secret. Maybe you felt that way yourself. Go ahead and put in the chat if you've ever experienced that best kept secret syndrome, we'll call it. Oh, good. Yeah. Yes, 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 of course. Yep. And then maybe you've worked hard, you've achieved success, and you've accomplished things that you're really proud of. I know a lot of us here are that way. Um, yeah, I encourage people not to brag about it. Thanks, Jill. Hi, Sue. But you're still maybe you've had that success. You've worked really hard, but you still feel that there's another level of impact available to you, and you want to get there. Put hard worker in the chat if that's you.
Faith, do you want me to help you let people in?
Oh, that would be fantastic.
You just need to make me the co-host.
Okay, who is talking right now?
Yvonne, sorry.
Yvonne. Okay, Yvonne, you are going to be the co-host. Perfect. You are fantastic. And this is why Yvonne is an amazing person, because she always steps up. I would say that about Yvonne. She always steps up. Now, I created this event because I believe that every one of us here has unique gifts and talents, ideas, wisdoms, and experiences that are meant to make a difference not only in our own lives but in the world. And I've come to believe something very deeply, that the more fully we express who we truly are, the greater impact we create. Now, I'm going to share later with you how we can do that together. with me, but I'm so grateful you're here with us today for this panel. We're going to explore what it really takes to raise our impact in our lives, our work, and our businesses and our communities. I'm going to start sharing my slide here in just a second. Ooh, is that what I want? No. Give me a second. Technology. Here we go. Should be sharing. Okay. Perfect. And here we are. These are our amazing panelists, which we are going to get to meet in just a minute. Yvonne, Christina, Mort, Jill, and Julie. I know each one of these people personally, and I'm grateful they're here to share their wisdom and with you today. I really trust them. The advice that they're going to give you today can transform your business and your life when you implement what they're going to share with you. Not just take in the advice, but really do something about it. But first, I want to talk about you and what's possible for all of us. So imagine that you are speaking up when it matters, that you're sharing your gifts and your message with confidence. You feel truly seen and heard, and you're creating the impact you know you're here to create. Well, my guess is that everyone here wants some version of this. We want our voice to matter. We want our work to matter. We want to feel like we're contributing something meaningful. We want to share our gifts fully, and we want to make a difference. And we want to feel, here's the thing, authentic and genuine while we're doing that. We don't want to feel like the Stepford wife or that or that person that we've created, that sort of fake person that goes out there and then we don't get the results that we're really looking for. Well, you're not alone. If you're anything like many of the people I work with, you may recognize yourself here. You know you have more to offer. You know that you have gifts, you have talents, ideas, wisdom, and experience that could help other people. And yet sometimes you hesitate. You question yourself. You wonder if you're ready. Maybe you overthink what you want to say and you hold back. And here's what I want you to know, that you're not alone. Put in the chat if any of these resonate with you at all. Let's see what happened to my chat. It's here somewhere. Yeah. Almost everyone I've worked with over the last 30 years has experienced some version of this. There's the desire to make a bigger impact, and then there's the fear that somehow maybe we're not quite ready yet. Yeah, I am not alone. Early on, I definitely questioned myself. Yes, Christina. Yep, absolutely. Sometimes question myself, yes. Especially when we're starting something new or going to the next level in what we're offering, that's when we can start questioning ourselves. So what keeps us from delivering our full impact? Here's a list of things that I'm sure that we're going to be talking about some of these things today in our panel. Some of the reasons we have that keep us from really delivering our full impact. But this can change. And here's why that's super important, why it matters, because when we hold back our voice, when we indulge in these things, we don't just affect ourselves. Here's the thing, we hold back ideas that could help someone. We hold back conversations that need to happen. We hold back opportunities. We hold back our leadership, and we hold back the impact that we're truly capable of creating. Now, I've seen incredibly talented people stay invisible for years because they weren't fully expressing themselves, who they really were. Now, the truth is that most people don't lack talent. They don't lack desire. They don't lack potential. What they often lack, here's the word, permission. Permission to trust themselves, permission to stop waiting, permission to fully express who they are. And I work with people to overcome all of these challenges and start using their gifts and their talents full out so that they really can make a difference in their lives and in the world. So stay tuned for my presentation after our roundtable discussion. I'll tell you a little bit more about how I do that. Giving ourselves permission to raise our impact, that's exactly why I invited today's panelists. Each of them helps people move through different versions of these challenges that we're looking at right now. Today, you're going to hear insights about visibility, about confidence, about communication, emotional resilience, branding, business growth, and impact. And I really hope that you'll leave with at least one idea that changes the way that you think about what's possible for yourself. What I have experienced is that impact doesn't begin when we become someone else. Impact begins when we have the courage to become more fully ourselves. So let me start to introduce our panel here, right? Yeah, I'm going to stop my share of these, and I'm going to spotlight all of our panelists here today. And spotlight myself. There we go. Who did I forget? Mort. Oh, and Jill. Thank you for waving, Jill. There we go. Here we are. Nice to have you all here. I'm going to start introducing everyone, and then I'm going to ask them to give another minute introduction of what they'd like to share with you. So this is sort of a bio of them, but I know that you'd like to get to meet them a little bit more. So let's start with Yvonne. Yvonne McCoy, she holds an MBA and is a business strategist who helps entrepreneurs with sporadic sales attract and convert the right clients using what they already do best. Her Be Found framework simplifies client attraction by focusing on strengths, trust building, and authentic connection. Yvonne, you want to give us another about 60 seconds of a little bit more of who you are?
First of all, I'm really excited to be here, Faith. And I have to say that your be seen, be heard makes perfect sense with my be found.
It does, doesn't it?
Really, really well. And I think most of us are much closer than we think. And the thing is, when you focus and streamline what you're doing, you can put your best energy into that so people can actually find you, especially if you're saying it from the client's perspective and not yours. So that's what I help people to do so that their clients can recognize them and they can be easily found.
That's so valuable. Thank you, Yvonne. I can't wait to hear more from you today. Let's go next to Julie Krasinski. She is
Hey, you
the,
did it.
I did it. I said it right this time. She is the joyful success coach and founder of the Joyful CEO Life Method. With over 30 years of entrepreneurial success and a gift for asking the exact right question, Julie helps women reconnect with their purpose, clear their mental clutter, and take confident, aligned action. She brings a blend of strategy and soul. I love that. Never one size fits all advice. Instead of piling on more to do, she helps you quiet the noise and move forward with simplicity, focus, and real momentum. Julie, would you like to add some more to that?
Well, thank you. And I'm going to piggyback on what Yvonne said. I have a new framework called Move. So helping people move through their mindset, right? And take action because I find that women are stuck in their heads. They're brilliant. Sometimes they know what to do. They don't know why they're not doing it. You know, you said some of the things, judgment, all those things. I come from corporate background. Then I went into direct sales. So I was a direct sales leader for over 25 years, retired in 2021. And a big part of my job in direct sales was actually helping women with their mindset, get over the judgment. What will my mother think? What will my aunt think? All those things. Never even focusing on selling the products or any of that kind of stuff. So I learned really leadership skills through my direct sales business for all those years, and now able to help other women move through and lock arms with them so they're not stuck anymore in their head and they're actually moving and
Yeah,
getting some momentum.
momentum is such the key, isn't it? It's such a
Hmm.
thing. Let me go next to Jill. Hi, Jill. Jill Lubin, she's a media magnate, an international speaker, a four-time best-selling author. right? She is a 25 plus year media magnet. Jill has made thousands of stage appearances alongside celebrities such as Tony Robbins, Barbara Corcoran, and Jack Canfield, to name a few. And recently she was honored with a humanitarian award. So, Jill, please tell us a little bit more about yourself today.
Well, thank you. And, being seen and being visible is so key to success. And I loved your questions, Faith, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for this and all my esteemed panelists too. Because really the point is, you said best kept secret, and I jokingly put in the chat, don't go bragging about that because the
Hmm.
truth is you do want to be seen because it is the best and most, frankly, easiest way that people can find you using publicity. And that's part of some what I'm going to share with you today is those powerful strategies that bring people close to you and multiply you, monetize you, and magnify you and your impact so that you can be the gift and the contribution in the world. And so that's why I love publicity. It's really a one-to-many strategy. I actually wrote the book on it, Guerrilla Publicity. And to that end, I run media mastery intensives. And then on my book, Profit of Kindness, I run kindness circles. And then we put it
Wow.
all together because kind people get more publicity.
Thank you, Jill. That is really fabulous. Yes, really great. Christina. Christina Curry, she's a marketing strategist for purpose driven entrepreneurs. Christina holds a bachelor's degree in marketing and management, and which laid the foundation for a career spanning 18 years in the marketing industry. She began her career working with corporations and big brands, learning the strategies, the systems, and structures behind effective marketing. But along the way, she noticed something. The entrepreneurs and small business owners around her were incredibly passionate about what they were building. They just didn't know how to market themselves. So in 2019, she made the big leap. You want to tell us about that, Christina?
Yeah, well, if you note that year, I made the big leap, gained some clients, and 3 months later, COVID hit. I lost all those clients because they were brick and mortar, and I maybe pouted for about a week and wrung my hands. But then I pivoted and started building a business during COVID, gained clients right back again. It ended up being totally fine, learned a lot. I love working with entrepreneurs and business owners because they are just the most passionate people. They are hardworking. They actually listen to the strategies that I say, and they just want to be successful. So they just drive, in with fueled by passion, really. So I'm really out here just trying to make people love marketing. I know a lot of times everyone's like, ugh, I hate it. I hate having to post. I hate having to send emails. But when you kind of change your mindset to think that if you don't do that, you're not getting what you are doing out there in the world. And I really want people to learn to appreciate marketing and love it and then
Good.
want to do it.
Good, good. Thank you, Christina. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Mort Orman, who has not a marketing thing to say, but what he's going to share with us today is really transformational. He's a board certified internal medicine physician and a 40-year anger and stress elimination expert. He's written 26 books on how to eliminate anger and stress and has helped many people eliminate that unwanted anger in their marriage or after a divorce. He's been the official sponsor of the National Stress Awareness Month every April in the United States since 1992. Dr. Mort, would you like to add a little bit to that?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for inviting me on this panel. I think it's going to be a pretty exciting day, so I'm interested to see where we go with this. I'm all about emotions now, and actually more so educating people or changing the way people are educated about emotions. Because there was a time in my life, like 40 to 50 years ago, when I was one of the most educated people in the world. And I went to Duke University back in the day when colleges were actually about educating students. I got a great education there. Then I went to the University of Maryland Medical School, then medical training. By the time I opened up my practice, I was really super educated, but I knew nothing about emotions. I received no education in emotions. No, I had no understanding of emotions. You may not know this, but in the world of medicine, when you're trained to be a doctor, emotions are just pushed aside. It's like they're not important. It's all cerebral, it's all logical, it's all scientific, it's all you got a problem, solve the problem. And emotions are just shoved to the side. And, everybody else is going emotional because it's health and life and death and all that kind of stuff. But you, as a doctor, you have to kind of like be steady and calm. So emotions were never a focus for me back when I was practicing medicine. But but I realized I had a lot of problems in my own life that I couldn't figure out and I couldn't solve, and they were all related to emotions. And I had no training. So what I'm about now is providing training for people so that they really can understand their emotions in a way that they can really take control of them when the emotions are getting in the way or holding us back from being expressing ourselves or being sharing our genius, sharing our gifts, helping other people. A lot of times emotions is what blocks us and keeps us from stepping out.
Yeah, Dr. Mort and I have been. I was on his show, on his show, and we talked about emotions because that's a big thing for me. I help people to unlock and empower their emotions as well. So we love doing that work, and it's such an important thing. Well, let's jump in, shall we? Let's start with our first question, and just kind of go. You'll each get 2 to 3 minutes to answer the question, so we can get in our questions. And I'll go. I think Yvonne, Julie, Christina, Mort, and then Jill. I think that's who I see, so that's what I'm going to do that, if that's okay with you all. So let's start with Yvonne. Many people, here's our first question. Many people know that they have more to offer, but they still hold themselves back. What do you believe is the biggest thing that keeps the people that you work with from stepping into their full impact? And what is one thing that they can do to begin moving through it?
That is such a loaded question. Because I think there are many things. But I think one of the things is that I see is people keep practicing to be perfect, they practice to keep being perfect. And the big thing is that the thing that you're practicing to be perfect about is no longer relevant by the time you think you've got it ready. And so you need to do it now. And probably one of the things that I found that really made me, and I rediscovered this. I do a lot of models, so I kind of rediscovered this the other day. And when I first, was an entrepreneur, I wanted credibility and authentic, and expertise. And the piece that I missed was community. You don't have to do it alone. And community can help you move faster. It gives you support. And you don't have to, you have to learn to trust your gut, because you can go into a community that you think should be right for you and you feel like, ugh. Don't be afraid to move around and find another community. One of the things that is, I think, so important is that people have the same values that you do. And if you talk to somebody and they don't have the same kind of values that you do, your relationships are not going to be strong. They're not going to provide you with the support. So when you're in community first, your credibility gets stronger, you get more competent. And when that happens and you start to focus in on what you're going to do, then your confidence rises, and then your conversations and your conversions rise. And so that's what I would say to people. And I absolutely started this backwards. I started with where most people start. I want to be an expert. I want to read everything I can. I want to get all the, I want to get my 17 step plan together. I want to, do this, that, and the other. If I had just taken the time to, get out and talk to other people. And here's the thing. When you're in community, there's always going to be people who are ahead of you, but there are also going to be people who are not as far as you are. So it actually enhances your credibility and your authority, because you're like, oh, and it helps you to highlight what your strengths are. Because when you say something and somebody is ahead of you and they go, oh, I never thought about it that way, you start to see what your strengths are and what you're bringing, which is going to increase your authenticity, your credibility, and your expertise. And you will move so much faster. And when you have momentum, especially through collaboration, things will grow faster. You will you know, be happier, you will have more conversions, and your clients will know exactly what you do.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love that community. I don't know that Julie really understands that so well. And we're going to go to Julie. What do you believe is the
Okay.
biggest thing that keeps people from stepping into their full impact?
Well, I think we're going to be overlapping a lot in our thoughts, which means that we're on the right track. Because if we're all talking about this, we know it's important, right? So I think one of the biggest things, just like Yvonne said too, is that people um, are measuring their readiness by the wrong thing. I really think that, when I feel confident, then I'll speak up. When I have more clarity, then I'll move forward. When I know exactly how it'll work, then I'll take the next step. But really, confidence usually doesn't come before the movement. Confidence comes from moving. So many women I work with are capable, they're wise, they're experienced, they're deeply gifted, but they're really waiting to feel certain before they let themselves be seen. And certainty is not usually where the impact begins. It really begins with that one honest next step, like one conversation you can have, one decision, one invitation, one moment of saying, no, this matters to me and I'm willing to move towards it. So basically, the one thing I would tell someone to do really is slow down long enough to hear what actually is true for you, not for everybody else. Because what has been given to you, the ideas that have dropped in for you, are divine interventions, I believe. And I believe that they can only come through you. We can all be doing and talking about the same thing, but we are uniquely designed. And so when we stop long enough and slow down and really listen, Yvonne said also listen to your gut. It always knows. I called mine the GPS system, my guidance perfect system. And then you'll choose the next aligned step, not the perfect step, not the whole plan. You don't see the whole stair. You don't get to see the whole stairwell, only the first step. And that's really when momentum starts.
Beautiful. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much. Synergy
You're
here in
welcome.
all of what we're trying to say.
Yeah.
Christina, what about you? How would you like to weigh in here?
Right. So with my, marketing hat on, this is really basic and the kind of the first thing I work on clients with, but it's getting clearer on what you do. And I think it's a really hard thing to describe and talk about for a lot of business owners. Oftentimes we're just in the business for so long that it's hard to kind of pull out and talk about it in a way that's drilled down and simplistic and you can deliver in a couple of sentences. And it's not because you don't know what you do, it's often because you're trying to describe your process and not the result. So it's like nobody's buying the how do you do it, they're wanting the transformation that you provide them. And that's where you want to get to. And if you think about it, if you've purchased programs or courses or even coaches, you don't care about their 7-step ladder, but you care about where they can get you to at the other end of it. And I think us as business owners and entrepreneurs, we get a little lost in that sometimes because we have developed our own proprietary way of doing it. And, people don't care. They just want to know, how can you help me and get to this space that I want to get to? And that's the important part. So I would say, like, one thing to take away today is really write down what transformation it is that you're giving people and stick to that with your messaging.
Love it. Love that, Christina. Dr. Mort,
Yes.
let's hear from you.
What's the question?
The question is, what do you believe is the biggest thing that keeps people from really stepping into what they want to offer, not hold themselves back? And what can they do to begin moving through that?
Well, I think it has a lot to do with emotions and mindset. And one of the problems we have today is we think those are two different things. Actually, they aren't. Your emotions come from your mindsets. And that's not something that's widely understood in our society today. But it's like before Einstein came along, we used to think that matter and energy were two different things. And he said, no, that's wrong. It's the same stuff. It's all energy. So we used to, if you think a piece of slab of wood, that's a thing. That's not energy. That's an object. But if I swing it at somebody, that's energy. And Einstein would say, no, the slab of wood is energy. Swinging it is energy. It's all energy. And so emotions are actually all mindset. Your whatever your mindset is, that's what will determine your emotions and a lot of times your actions as well. So and that keeps us stuck. So we have lots of fears that keep us from stepping out. I deal with a lot with anger. People can sort of diminish their effectiveness and their impact if they have an angry disposition, or it can, impair their relationships that they need to build partnerships and collaborations, to maximize their impact by coordinating with other people. So there's lots of ways where emotions get in our way, including just feeling like I want to give up, or this isn't working, or woe is me, or I'm not good enough, or who the hell am I to X, Y, or Z. All those things are emotions that come from mindsets. So the trick is to be able to take an inventory of the mindsets that are causing blocks for you or holding you back, and learn how to overcome the stoppage, so that who you are can come out, despite the fact that your brain's doing all this crap, telling you all these stories and giving you these mindsets that will make you small and limit you and tell you have no business, trying to do anything big like that. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Mort. Yes, another piece of this puzzle that we're putting together today. But it's not such a complicated puzzle, really. It really isn't. Jill, what would you like to add to this?
So I think that people, what I've seen in putting themselves out there, and this is with people who are introverted or never done it before, some who've done it a lot. There's imposter syndrome. That's part of what happens. The I'm not good enough. I also hear things like, I'm not ready yet. And I don't really know what that means because frankly, if you're in business, if got a twinkle in your eye about what you want to do, you're, good enough. You're starting, you're on time. And one of the things I think is really important is you take those first baby steps, really, and with whatever you're comfortable with. I understand being shy. I really was actually very, very shy. I understand being unconfident. But the truth is, what I've discovered and help, so many through is when you take those baby steps and then you have success, right? Then you can take the next one. So one thing I always recommend is the baby steps, and that certainly helps build confidence. And also what I know is when you have a message that's in you, that's congruent, that's resonant, the confidence level will go way up, and I think people will start really feeling you, which then propels even better confidence and keep goingness. So it is wonderful. It is a wonderful circle, but it's really about taking those steps, baby ones, and breaking through some of whatever we're all feeling.
Yes, Jill, thank you. Yeah, I would add to that a lot of people, and myself included, this feeling of I can't make a mistake. I got to be perfect. I'll tell you a story that last summer I saw Sarah Bareilles at the Hollywood Bowl. 50,000, there's how many people there? 10,000 people, 15,000 people at the bowl. And they had a platform out in the audience where she came out and was singing with her guitar, and she had another person with her. And in the middle of the song, she forgot the words to her own song. So instead of making it like, oh my God, I'm such a horrible person, what did I just do in front of all these people? She stopped and she said, I forgot the words to my song. And she said, but that girl down there, she's singing along with me. You want to come up here and sing with me? And you can sing and help me with the words. She turned something that we would have been just so embarrassed about into something that was beautiful. And that's what we have to remember, that even when we feel like we're making a mistake, that is our first attempt at something and it didn't go, we didn't have fireworks happening, that it's okay. It's really okay. The next step will be there. Let's move on to, that was beautiful. So inspiring. Um, what is one shift, either in mindset, communication, visibility, or strategy, or whatever you'd like to talk about, that created the biggest breakthrough in your own career or your own business? Would you like to start, Yvonne? No, this is a, okay.
I will.
Oh, you
I
will
will.
go. Okay.
Um, I would say, I think for me, one of the biggest shifts is the idea of failure. Um, and one of the things that happens, and this is actually, I think, is something that we should probably end up talking about a lot, but the idea that I could fail. I was raised that it was a systematic learning that we were not to fail, that we were to do what everybody else did, that we were to follow the whatever. And when I finally realized that entrepreneurship is really an experiment, that failure is really a valuable part of success. You learn more from your failures than you do from your success. Because when you succeed, you go, oh, this worked, I'm going to do it again, and not know whether that's the right thing to do or not. When you fail, you take time to go after you've licked your wounds. You take time to go, okay, why didn't this work, and what part was, whatever. And I think that was a huge thing, because one of the things that happens is you can take bigger than just baby steps. If you go, if I'm going to fail, let's fail big. Let's make a splash of it. And the other thing I think is that knowing that a lot of our feelings come from that limiting belief system. When you're raised, it's like, don't toot your own horn, be a good girl. And in my case, like I said, I was like we were the only Black family in a white neighborhood. And so, it was drummed into us that we had to be like the standard bearer, and you couldn't fail. You had to be twice as good to whatever. And I say, my mother, it was so ingrained that when I ran for student council, my mother said, I don't want you to do that. And I was like, why not? And she goes, you might lose. And I go, Mom, there are 5 of us running. There's an 80% chance I'm going to lose. And those are things that, were instilled in you to protect you. As an entrepreneur, you don't need to be protected because you're out there to help other people. And so that to me was like the biggest thing that really changed around, one of the biggest things, like, it's okay. I can get up there and make a mistake. Like when I do my workshops, I go, it's live, guys. There's probably going to be a glitch, but we're going to keep moving.
Beautiful, Yvonne. As an entrepreneur, right? Don't worry about making mistakes. It's not part of, we don't have to worry about that because we're out there to help others.
Yeah.
Making a mistake is not our,
Others.
yeah, beautiful. I love that. Julie, what about you?
Okay, so one of the biggest shifts for me was realizing that success was not supposed to cost me my joy. We started a business. Otherwise, I would have stayed an employee. Like how many times have I said, I would have stayed working for corporate America, get my paycheck, go home, and not think about it, right? And so for a long time, like many women, I realized, I knew how to get things done. I knew how to show up, lead, serve, do all the things. But there's a difference between moving forward from pressure and then moving forward when you're in alignment with your purpose and your joy. And once I realized that, I mean, when you're in direct sales, and it was a big chunk of my career, it was always like throw enough spaghetti on the wall and something's going to stick. And it was like grinding, make the calls, do the thing, blah, blah, blah. Yes, and you can be successful for a short period of time, but what does that cause? Burnout, lack of joy. Then you start questioning yourself. Maybe I'll just quit being an entrepreneur. Maybe this isn't for me.
Mm,
So when I stopped measuring my success only by how much I could accomplish, and I started paying attention to whether my life and work actually felt like joy, something that I loved, then it was like a big shift for me. And then I could teach other women to do that as well.
wow, that's beautiful. That's it. Christina.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, mine's similar to Yvonne. I had a I came out of, I went back to college as a later adult. So marketing is actually my second career. And I was in corporate forever. And so I had that corporate speak and sort of that experience with businesses. And I had to be polished and very professional and use the right industry language and kind of hide myself a little bit. And when I started doing, building my business, being an entrepreneur, I realized like that didn't really resonate with my clients at all. And I had to make a shift to actually learn to express myself authentically more than what I was doing. And then people started listening. And I think it's what's going on right now is people are dumping their business into AI and having AI speak for them. And I think that's putting on a bit of a mask for them. I think that's like making their audience distrust them and not stop and listen. And it's sort of what I was doing, is wearing that corporate hat. And I really, encourage you to move back into telling real stories, being more authentic with what your marketing is saying. Read emails out loud. If it doesn't sound like something you're going to say out loud, edit it, change it up, because people can hear your voice through your emails and they can hear that AI voice as well. And I think that's going to help you kind of set yourself apart for sure.
That's great. That's really good. And Christina, I work with Christina, so she helps me, she guides me all the time in this. It's really wonderful. Dr. Mort, what about you? What was that thing in your that thing in your life that changed things for you?
Yeah, that thing was like a huge thing, like an earthquake that happened for me about 40 years ago. And it's been like the Big Bang, so it continues expanding ever since. It hasn't stopped. And it was after I had done some, well, I was very successful professionally as a physician, but I had a lot of struggles personally, a lot of difficulties in my life. No matter what I tried to do, I could not figure these things out. I could not stop them. Every day I woke up, it was the same angry guy, anxious guy, relationship problems all over the place, da 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 da. Which is funny because I was born on Groundhog's Day, and it literally felt like that. Every day was the same. And then I was doing this personal development work, and then something dawned on me from lots of different sources. And one day I made this mindset shift, and the shift sounds very simple, but it was profound. And the shift was, what if it's me? Which I had never really embraced before. I was always blaming things outside of me or things that I thought were not in my control. I had lots of anger issues, so I was always blaming the people I was angry at. I had tremendous fear of public speaking. I would have never volunteered to do anything like this. To me, it was like, oh, public speaking is just terribly stressful, and it's like the worst thing. And blame public speaking or the lack of the public speaking gene, whatever people had that made them good at it. I didn't have that. So it was out of my control. Every one of my relationships eventually crashed and burned, one right after another. And another thing, which you might not think is important, to me it was, I wasn't exercising and I hated running. I hated it with a passion. I thought long distance runners all belonged in mental hospitals. They were just masochists. They were craziest people in the world. I knew how bad it felt to run a mile, and I'm thinking people who run multiple miles, they're sick. That was where I was. And then I made the shift. I went like, what if it's me? What if it's not running? What if it's me and how I'm approaching running? What if public speaking isn't scary? But somehow I'm making it into something that's scary, and I don't know that I'm doing it, and I don't know how I'm doing it. But what if it is? And what if all the relationship failures that I had weren't due to the women that I happened to choose to get in a relationship with?
That's beautiful.
What if it had something to do with me and how I behave in relationships, how I think about relationships, understand relationships? What if it's me?
What if it's me?
And what if the anger isn't coming from all those people doing all those stupid things?
What if it's me, right?
Yeah, what if it's me? So this whole mindset shift of what if it's me, and not knowing, not knowing even if that's realistic. That's just crazy talk. And then secondly, discovering, and then entering into it, just trusting that it might be me, and then say, okay, well, if it's me, how? How am I doing it? And then I systematically took on each of these problems and eventually figured out, A, yeah, it was me. And
Dr.
B,
Ward,
I
I
know
don't want to
exactly.
stop you, but
I,
we're kind of running out of time here. So I
right.
want to,
I've actually figured out exactly how I was doing all those things and transformed them all, and they've never gone back. It's been 40 years of really bliss. So,
yeah, I could listen to you talk forever, but I want to make sure I get everybody,
okay.
and we got some
Okay.
free gifts to talk about, and I have a little presentation I want to create here for people. So beautiful, beautiful. What if it's me? That's such a great. Jill, would you like to weigh in here?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing for me was realizing nobody wins alone. So somebody said community, yes. I'm making sure I'm in communities, and lots of them, by the way. I love community, and it really elevates and pumps me up, so to speak. So I think that's really important, but also mentorship. So yes, I'm a coach and mentor to many. Guess what I need? Help, support, buoying up, B-U-O-Y, right? And have it so that I can go somewhere and get real and find out what I need to do and be talked to. And so hiring coaches and mentors has always been to me a very important thing. And especially, honestly, if I'm going to offer my masterminds and higher level programs, I better be getting coached and investing in myself. So investing in myself is a high priority, always has been, and was the very thing that changed everything for me.
Wow, Jill, I so agree with you. I could not be doing this today if I hadn't got the mentorship and the coaching that I've gotten throughout the years. So thank you for that. Everyone, this beautiful. I think we're kind of running out of time, unbelievably. We had several other questions that we were going to ask, but I want to be able to have you talk about your free gifts that you have. I'm going to put them all in the chat. There they are. Yeah, we have so much to say. I know we could make this 2 hours, but I think we want to honor the people who've come here. Let's talk about your free gift. Christina, you're up first here. I see that I put you first. You have a free month of group monthly marketing calls?
Yes, yeah, I do 2 calls a month. The first call is open Q&A. Come bring any of your marketing questions, and the second call is I teach a marketing tactic or break down a marketing concept into something that's a little more manageable and automated. And plenty of time for questions. I invite anyone to come in. You can ask an expert marketing person and get your marketing back on track. And so this is a free month when you sign up. I actually have a call this Thursday. So if you sign up, you get in for this Thursday and then another call. So
Yeah,
good.
beautiful. Yvonne, you have the Be Found workshop.
Yes, it's actually tomorrow at 2 o'clock. And one of the things that it helps you to do is it helps you to identify what makes you different from everybody else and from the perspective of the client. And just as a fun fact, I've given this workshop a bazillion different names. And it usually took me about 2 or 3 days to get 20 people on LinkedIn to sign up. When I changed the name to Be Found, I had over 20 people who signed up in 1 hour. So when you're speaking to your client, it really connects them with you.
Wow, beautiful. And Jill, you have the publicity action guide.
Yes, because obviously this is a short time together, and there's so much to learn about publicity in a wonderful and positive way. So, the Publicity Action Guide gives you great tips for how to create publicity and get out there quickly, easily, efficiently, and cost effectively. And then I double gift you because, hey, that's just how I roll. And that's the opportunity to be live and interactive with me in a publicity challenge, just 1 hour, very focused with the topic and interactive questions and live on Zoom. Everything's on Zoom. So that's the gift.
And Dr. Mort, thank you, Jill.
And my gift is a handout, a PDF download, how to eliminate unwanted anger in your marriage or after divorce. So in it, I talk about all the things I discovered about anger that enabled me to solve my anger problems finally. My wife and I just celebrated our 42nd wedding anniversary 6 days ago. So it works.
Love
And
it.
and you can also, there's a way you can contact me, set up a free exploratory call, discovery call if you want to do that. But it'll really give you some good pointers on how to think about anger and understand anger differently than most of us have been taught.
Mm. I would highly encourage you all to save the chat because you want to go and get these free gifts. They're fantastic. I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm offering for everyone in just a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat as well because I know that we are here. But first of all, let's give a big round of applause to everybody here. Uh, Amazing panel. Like I said, we should have done 90 minutes, I think, but I know everybody is so busy, so we're trying to create that energy. Yeah, beautiful, Lorianne, beautiful. I totally agree. So, what if you trusted your voice? You stopped holding back your gifts. You shared your ideas with confidence, right? What if and you keep wondering what becomes possible when we stop holding ourselves back. What happens when we stop waiting for permission? What happens when we fully step into who we're meant to be? Now, many of you may know, some of you, that before I became a coach, a speaker, and a mentor, I was a professional singer. Music was what I did. It was who I was. Then one day, after I was singing a lot, I lost my voice, and I was diagnosed with a voice disorder. And for months, I couldn't sing. I couldn't perform. I couldn't do the very thing that I loved most in the world, and it was very devastating. But I refused to give up. I was determined to get my voice back, so I worked. I healed, I persevered, and I kept believing that my voice mattered. Then 2 years later, I had the incredible opportunity to sing the national anthem for the Chicago White Sox in front of more than 50,000 people. Wow. As I stood there and sang, I felt something profound. It wasn't just about hitting the high notes, it wasn't about performing. What I discovered, it was about connection. I was using my voice to move people, to inspire people, and create an experience that mattered to them. That journey taught me a lesson that has stayed with me ever since, that our voices matter. Not just our speaking voice, but our ideas, your gifts, your perspective, your story, your message. They're so important and we need to get them out there. So many people are holding back a part of themselves that the world needs. And what I discovered is that they don't have a talent problem. There's just a gap, right? Between who they are and how they're showing up, what they know and what they're sharing, the dream they carry and the actions that they're taking, and the impact that they want to make and the impact that they're creating. And when we begin closing that gap, our confidence changes, our relationships change, our communications change, our business changes, and our sense of purpose changes. And that is what your fully expressed life is really about, right? Now, in my book, And Truly Be Seen and Heard, and as I wrote about and I've discovered, there are what I call 4 phases to be truly seen and heard. The first is to align your mindset. We've talked about that today. Move beyond that self-doubt, the fear, and the stories that keep you playing small. Then we move into power up your presence. Learn how to show up with some authenticity and some impact, and that will give you confidence. Then we have unleash your greatness. Discover what is really great about you. What do you really want to add to this world? What do you want to share? Stop hiding those gifts and talents, your wisdom, and your unique contribution, and unleash that greatness. And then we're ready to connect and inspire, communicating in a way that moves people and really creates meaningful influence. Now, I can't dive deeply into these today, but in the masterclass, I'm going to show you how these 4 phases work together to help you close the gap between who you are and how you're showing up in the world. And when I talk about being truly seen and heard, it's not about being famous. It's not about having thousands of followers. And it's not about being the loudest person in the room. it's really something deeper. It's having the courage to fully express who you are, to share your gifts, to trust your voice, to live in alignment with your purpose and create the impact that you're here to create. So I'm inviting you again to my Fully Expressed Life Masterclass. It's a free 60-minute masterclass. Learn how to be truly seen, heard, and deeply inspiring. You can use the QR code here, I was going to say that, to get onto that, to register for that class, or you can go here to go.raisingyouриmpact.com /fully expressed masterclass. And that is in the chat. That link is in the chat, so you have both. And we'll go deeper into what we talked about today, what we covered. It's an invitation to stop hiding parts of yourself, to activate your true passion, what's really driving you, what you really want to do, to create your impact and live a life that actually feels like you. And you're going to get some practical tools to help you to step into that greater confidence, your purpose, your presence, and your impact. So I'm going to go back to our panelists right now. And if there's one thing that you could tell people to leave with today, we're coming up. We're actually amazing that we're kind of coming up right on the hour here. It just worked out perfectly. What one thing would you like to say to them? Thank you, Janice, by the way. I want to call out Janice. She said she often felt that you were speaking directly to me. And that's our goal, isn't it? To connect that authentically, to share who we are, to share all of the things that we've gone through, to know that we are, we're in this together. We are in this together. And with that mindset and knowing that, we can create that collaborations that we want. We can create the communities that we want. We can help with each other and uplift our mindset, get ourselves out there in the way that we want to get ourselves out, in the way we want to market ourselves, create a path to greater publicity, as Jill talks about, a greater way of being seen in the world, and to allow our emotions not to manage us, but to be friends with our emotions and to be able to really accept that we all have all kinds of emotions, and they're there to teach us, to help us to get us into that next space of movement. So I've kind of talked a little bit about everything that I've learned today, and it's so exciting. And if you have any questions, you can put those in the chat. Well, anybody has a question that they'd like to have someone talk about. But one thing that you'd like to leave everybody with? Yvonne, you want to start? We'll go down our row here.
I would say the things that you undervalue are the things that your clients are looking for. You undervalue them because they come so easy to you, but those are absolutely the things that other people need. And so you are much closer than you think. And when you get out of your own way and say client first, it becomes so much easier. The momentum just builds.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Wow. Julie?
Yeah, I would just love to leave you with permission to start taking action today and stop questioning yourself and really take some time to breathe and just listen because you do know what you want.
Another more brilliance. This is why I brought this panel together, because I knew that there was brilliance here. Christina?
Yeah, I think the best way to connect to your audience is to actually interview a couple, 2 to 3 clients, not looking for a testimonial. Just ask them 2 questions. What were you struggling with before you started working with me? And how are you feeling now that we've been working together? And use their words in your marketing to attract more of the same kind of client.
Beautiful. Yes. Dr. Mort?
Yeah, I would just leave people with the thought that if you're struggling with anger or anxiety or guilt or any other emotions, and you think they might be harming you or your family or whatever, it's not a life sentence. There are ways to overcome these things, and we haven't done a good job of educating people properly. But if we really understood how our emotions work, most people would find that they have a lot more power and control over those, emotions than they think they do.
Thank you. Thank you. I so agree with you. And Jill?
So I really think now is your moment. It's like, what are you waiting for? And whatever it is, we can overcome it. And part of it is just name it. But really, I want to be the voice of it is time. It is time to take next steps, to create more visibility, to get your message out, to have your contribution in the world and have that kind of impact and influence that you deserve. Because here's the deal, your message matters. That's what I really feel.
Wow, your message matters. You know, Jill, we are on the
Okay.
same page. We are all on the same page. Um, this is my last slide. Your voice matters, your gifts matter. The world needs what only you can bring.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, I just feel so full after being on this panel with all of you. I know that those of you who attended today that you got a lot out of this. Please download these free gifts and you can keep in touch with all of our panels and join Yvonne on her masterclass tomorrow, and mine is next week, June 24th. So please come by and we'll dive deeper into all of this stuff, get more transformation, more shifting, because every step that we take, every movement, every shift that we take in our mindset and in the way we're doing things, and our, convincing ourselves that we really, this is the time. This is the time. This is that we are needed on this in this planet right now, like more than ever. And that's why we're here. That's why we've been called forward to actually help people, because we've got something that can um, shift the way people interact with each other. Yeah. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you. Thank you.
Faith.
Grace, wonderful.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Yvonne, did you get my calendar?
I did
Okay.
on it.
All
Oh,
right. Thanks,
yes.
Faith.
Thanks so much, Julie. Thanks, Yvonne.
Bye.
Wonderful having you here.
Good. Thank